The trucker convoy, which somehow still exists, has once again worn out their welcome, this time in California, going from the failed whatever they did in DC to now California. Now, the People's Convoy, which was inspired by Canadian truckers who shut down the roads to protest vaccine mandates, arrived in the Bay Area last week after weeks of demonstrations in Washington, D.C. Now, demonstrations over what? Nobody can really say. Not really sure. Don't know. I mean, there were no federal mask mandates or vaccine mandates left for them to protest against. So what did they do? They just kind of drove around while wasting tons of money on gas. Great. Nailed it. Perfect. So they left, and they left DC, and I thought they just kind of went home. I thought that was the end of it. It turns out, no, they continue. Now, before I get into their activities, I do want to address people on the left who believe that this was a real people's movement, and not a right-wing chud gathering. Now, I keep pointing out all the different ways that they were a chud gathering. However, some people still don't believe it. So now, that's the thing. You were wrong. The people who sided with and promoted these truckers were also absolutely wrong. Dead wrong, period. Because first of all, protesting against non-existent mask and vaccine mandates, while not speaking about real issues facing the American people, especially the American worker, like, for example, low wages, sky-high corporate profits, inflation, that right now all those factors are obliterating the average person's finances and purchasing power. How about the reliance on fossil fuels? That's killing the average person's finances as well. And, of course, the environment. And not addressing how the average person still does not have guaranteed health care. Now, you would think that people that were so worried about things that were going on in the pandemic, well, that they'd be worried about the average person not being able to go to a doctor and not being able to afford it. However, the truckers did not address any of these issues. All they really had was a nebulous idea of freedom mixed with conspiracy theories about COVID vaccines and a promotion of fake cures like Ivermectin. By the way, Ivermectin, a recent study, a new double-blind clinical study of Ivermectin showed that it had absolutely no effect on COVID-19 in patients. None whatsoever. I know I shouldn't have to keep bringing this up, but seriously, it doesn't work. A clinical trial conducted by a partnership between academics and clinicians in Brazil and Canada found that ivermectin does not reduce the risk of hospitalization for patients with COVID-19. The peer-reviewed study also shows ivermectin treatment did not help with various other health measures related to the virus, such as viral clearance after a week, speed of recovery, or risk of death. So, yeah. The study results were published in the New England Journal of Medicine, but since they were not posted to a Substack or a right-wing blog, they're never going to see it. Never going to see it. But look, the reality is, and everybody knows it, it doesn't work. It never has worked. We've done the studies. Anybody who pushed it, or I should say anybody who continues to push it as a miracle cure, you've either fallen for propaganda or you were the one that was pushing the propaganda in the first place. So, back to the truckers. On Friday, about 20 drivers filled the road near the home of Buffy Wicks. Now, Buffy Wicks is a Democratic Assembly member in California. They were doing the honkening 3.0. And so they were honking, using bullhorns, and generally just being annoying. Now, why? Well, the group was reportedly protesting legislation that Wicks had wrote, which aims to shield women and other birthing people from criminal and civil liability in the event of a miscarriage, self-induced or criminal abortion, or infant death due to pregnancy-related causes. So this comes after 2 women, both in Kings County, that have been prosecuted in California for having a miscarriage. Now, the charges were dropped against 1 woman, but another woman, Adora Perez, remains in custody as her case is returned to the courts for a new trial. So imagine going through a miscarriage and then being charged for murder. That's what the right wing wants for women. They say that this bill, falsely claim that this bill decriminalizes killing newborn babies, infanticide. That's insane. Neither the language of the bill nor the lawmakers' intent supports any of that allegation. Nonetheless, the convoy literally decided, we're going to show up at your house on your street. That's it. Now, that not only pissed off Buffy Wicks, and of course, also made her afraid for her own safety, understandably so, but her neighbors also were not a fan of the honkening. Those neighbors basically told the truckers to F off. Wicks then called the police, and all the trucks, of course, left. But the story does not end there. When the convoy got stuck in traffic outside of Oakland, an Oakland Safeway, a group of residents began throwing eggs at the stalled vehicles, shouting, "Get the fuck out of here," according to video. Interesting. Now, I'm not condoning this behavior. Of course not. I'm not condoning throwing eggs at people. No. But I'm just reporting what happened. Okay? It wasn't just the kids, too. Random passersby decided that they would get in on the egg throwing, the egg extravaganza, and they hurled them at trucks scrawled with phrases such as, "Let's go, Brandon," as they drove by. So it's funny because I love how these were very clearly marked. You know which ones, I should say they knew which ones they wanted to go after. It's almost as if it was a target-rich environment. Like, oh, here we go. There's a chud. There's a chud. All right, ready the egg launchers. Again, I'm not condoning it. I'm not condoning it. Now, many of those throwing eggs at the group were children who cheered each other on and then fled when running out of eggs. There were a few confrontations, but at the end of the day, nobody was arrested or harmed. In fact, one trucker had yelled at the kids, "We're fighting for your freedom too." Freedom from what? I don't understand. How's throwing women in jail for a miscarriage freedom? How is that considered freedom in any way? I don't understand. How is letting COVID run rampant among the unvaccinated freedom? I think these people are so far up their own asses that they just don't understand. They've bought into their own bullshit. They've bought into the right-wing propaganda machine that made them actually believe that they're heroes fighting for the common man. When in reality, of course, it couldn't be further from the truth.